All right, let's do another consport video. This one's on writing proportional equations. Let's go. It says Carlos harvests cassavas at a constant rate. Okay, so that's proportional. He needs 35 minutes to harvest a total of 15 cassavas. So basically, you want the rate, so you want the time to be on bottom. So input output, you'd be thinking about cassavas per minute, basically. So on top, you're going to have the cassavas, and on bottom, you're going to have the minutes. Input per output, right? So this is your unit rate, cassavas per minute. That's the speed at which he's harvesting cassavas. And so it says that he's choosing different letters for this, right? He's saying that T is the time and C is the cassavas. So in this case, he's going to say that C is the cassavas. So we want cassavas per minute. So output is going to be cassavas, and input's going to be the minute. So T is the time. So he wants T and C. So instead of X and Y for input output, he wants T and C. T for input, input the time, and output the cassavas. Okay, so that's how you get your kind of variables aligned, right? And so now we just got to fill in the values here. It says he needs 35 minutes to harvest 15 cassavas. So we have 15 cassavas takes him 35 minutes. So at that rate, what is that rate? Let's find the unit rate. So you're going to divide top and bottom by 35. And you're going to get 1 on bottom, which is what you want, right? How many cassavas you can harvest in 1 minute. And so you get 15 out of 35 on top. Now, 15 out of 35 is the same as divide top and bottom by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3, and 35 divided by 5 is going to be 7. So it looks like it's going to be 3/7. Okay? So you've got 3/7 here as your unit rate, which basically means that he can harvest 3/7 of a cassava melon, so less than 1 cassava melon per minute. Okay, so he's doing 3/7 cassavas per minute. And then we have the ratios, of course, that we already have here. So we understand that when time is 35, cassavas is 15, and we have our unit rate and everything we need. It says write an equation to describe the relationship between T, the time, and C, the total number of cassavas that he's harvesting. So we know that basically you just take the input of the time and times it by 3/7, and you're going to get the output. So when the time is 1, times it by 3/7, you're going to get the output of 3/7. When the input is 35, times it by 3/7, you're going to get the output of 15. Okay. So ultimately, the equation is just going to be not y equals, but we're going to do our output value, which is C, is equal to our constant proportionality, 3/7, or unit rate, okay, times our input value, T. So time times 3/7 is equal to cassavas. And that's how you'd set it up. It's always going to be the ratio of output to input as your multiplier, right? That's what your multiplier is going to be, the ratio of output to input, okay? And that's going to be the y over x, which is your k. And we can see here that's your unit rate, basically, right? So unit rate times input, which is time, equals output, which is cassavas. And that's it. So C equals 3/7, so 3/7 times T. The tricky thing is just they didn't use X and Y. They used like different letters, so we should be careful. That's it. Let's do the next one. So I'm going to reset everything. All right, so I'm back. Tropical Punch recipe calls for 300 milliliters of sugar for every 2 flavor packages. Write an equation that shows the relationship between S, the amount of sugar in milliliters, and F, the number of flavor packages in this recipe. I would input flavor packets and output sugar. So I'm going to input F and output S. That means that my ratio of y over x is going to be flavor packages per sugar. No, the other way around, I guess. It's going to be sugar per flavor package, right? So let's erase that. Whee! All right. So it's going to be input flavor packages, output sugar. So that means that we're going to have the ratio of output to input being the sugar on top in milliliters, right? And the flavor packets on bottom. Okay. And that would be, of course, just number of flavor packets. And they call that F. Okay, so the ratio of S over F is going to be your multiplier, your constant proportionality. So in this case, they're telling us telling us that 300 milliliters of sugar is equivalent to 2 flavor packages. So 300 milliliters of sugar is 2 flavor packages. And what I want to know is the unit rate, so I'm going to divide top and bottom by 2. And when I do that, I get 150 to 1. So what that means is that for every 1 flavor packet, you use 150 milliliters of sugar. So this is our ratio that we're going to have to constant throughout the table. So this unit rate, 150 to 1, is our multiplier. So input times 150 equals output. Input times 150 equals output. So 2 times 150 is 300. 1 times 150 is 150. And in this case is what? What is your input? F times 150 equals S. So S equals 150 times F. And that's how you do it. So S equals 150 times S. Oh, I forgot to put the F, the S instead. All right, so S equals 150 times F. And that's right. So just be careful when you input it. You get the answer. All right, the next one I got is, I'll set this up for you guys. All right, so this one is Hannah reads at a constant rate of 3 pages every 8 minutes. So 3 pages every 8 minutes. That means that pages per minute would be 3 over 8. Your unit rate, divide top and bottom by 8. You're going to get 3/8 of a page per minute. She reads 3/8 of a page per minute. So that would be her unit rate, which is her multiplier. So we know that if you take the input of minutes and you times it by 3/8, you're going to get the number of pages that she reads. All right. If you were to flip that relationship, right, you can see that it takes her 8/3. So 8/3 of a minute per page, right? So minutes per page, basically. But the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to do input of minutes and output of pages. So that means that when you input the minutes, you're going to output how many pages you can read. So like, let's say you know you have 10 minutes to read. That's your input. How many pages can you accomplish in that 10 minutes? That basically is how I think about it. So this is basically pages per minute, the speed at which she's reading. And it's going to be the output, which is going to be pages, which is P, is equal to the unit rate, 3/8, output over input, okay, times the input value, minutes, which is going to be M. So if you take the minutes and you times it by 3/8, you get the pages. So 8 minutes times 3/8 equals 3 pages. And that would be the way I'd write it out. So P is equal to 3/8 times M. And this time I put the correct letters in. And now we can hit check and we're good. Okay, next question. Okay, in this situation, it says Alexandra paid $7 to park her car for 3 hours at a parking garage. The garage charges a constant hourly rate. Write an equation that shows the relationship between P, the number of hours parked, and C, the cost in dollars. So I think it makes sense to get the price per hour, basically, that she's parked, which is going to be C per P. So C is going to be our output, and P is going to be our input. So we input the hours that she's going to stay in the parking spot, and we output the cost to her, how much it's going to cost her for those hours. Which makes sense, right? You're going to put the car there for however long it needs to be there, and when you're done, you have to pay the bill, right? So now we're just going to fill in these values. So I know that it was $7 for every 3 hours. So if it's $7 for every 3 hours, we know that the ratio here is 7 over 3. We want the unit rate, so we're going to divide top and bottom by 3. We can see in this case it's very simple. It's just going to be 7/3 for every 1. Okay, so that means that your unit rate is 7/3. That's your multiplier. That's your constant proportionality. So we know that it's going to be output equals 7/3 times input. So in our case, our output is C. Okay, we're going to multiply it by 7/3. And we're going to, sorry, not multiply it. Our output is C. It's going to be equal to our input times 7/3. Our input is P. So 7/3 per hour, right? $2.33, right, per hour. And you're going to times it by the number of hours you parked. And that's going to be your total cost. So C is equal to 7/3 P. And that's what you put. So C is equal to 7/3 P. And that's how you do these problems. All right. Hopefully that helped you guys.